In the south of Asia, a small country lies almost entirely surrounded by India, opening out into the Bay of Bengal. With a landmass roughly half the size of Spain, this land is home to over 170 million people. In terms of population density per square kilometer, it is one of the most crowded countries on Earth. But describing this place only through its numbers means understanding nothing about it at all. Because Bangladesh holds so many secrets inside it that you wouldn't even know where to begin. Before anything else about Bangladesh, we need to talk about a community that exists here and that most of us have never heard of, the Hijras. Biologically born male, but identifying as neither male nor female, these individuals are part of a very ancient community that has existed in South Asia for centuries. In 2013, the Bangladeshi government officially recognized Hijras as a third gender. This designation began appearing on their identity cards and passports. It was a step that many Western countries had not yet taken, but that's not even the most surprising part. The Bangladeshi government went a step further and deployed Hijras as tax inspectors to combat tax evasion. Think about it. A business owner is avoiding paying taxes. Hijras show up at the door. In traditional culture, having Hijras arrive at your door and begin waiting outside is considered deeply shameful. This social pressure is so powerful that business owners who could evade official tax collectors simply cannot evade the Hijras. Tax collection rates increase significantly through this method. But there is nothing bright about the lives Hijras lead. For centuries, they have made their living by dancing and singing at weddings and births. Society considers them sacred, yet simultaneously excludes them. Official recognition gave them identity, and some doors began to open. In recent years, Hijra mayors have been elected and Hijra police officers have taken up duty, but the worlds of employment, housing, and education remain largely closed. They became visible, but they were not truly accepted, and the gap between those two things is a weight they carry every single day. The history of Bangladesh begins with something that has happened nowhere else in the world. People here died for a language. In 1952, when the country was still part of Pakistan, the government attempted to declare Urdu the sole official language. Bangladeshis spoke Bengali, and that language was not merely a means of communication for them, it was an identity. Students poured into the streets, and on those days, security forces opened fire on the crowd. The young people who lost their lives were declared martyrs. That day, the 21st of February, is now recognized by UNESCO as International Mother Language Day. So the day students were killed for their language in one country became the day all of humanity celebrates its languages, one of the strangest and most powerful transformations in history. What happened on these lands in 1971 is recorded as one of the greatest crimes against humanity in history, and yet strangely, it remains insufficiently known around the world. The Pakistani army launched a systematic massacre to suppress Bangladesh's independence movement. Historians give different figures for the number of lives lost in those 9 months, but no one speaks of a number below 300,000. Some estimates reach as high as 3 million. So, where was the world? The major powers of the time put their own interests first. What was happening was ignored. Reports were shelved. One of the greatest human tragedies in the world was buried in silence for the sake of political calculations. Bangladesh won its independence, but paid for that victory with an indescribable price. Now, we move to something you would never expect. In the 1970s, diseases caused by contaminated surface water were threatening the lives of millions in Bangladesh. International organizations found a solution: use groundwater. Millions of tube wells were drilled across the country. Clean water was now underground, and people finally had access to it. It looked like a great success story. But no one had tested that water. The truth that emerged years later was shocking. Bangladesh's groundwater naturally contained high levels of arsenic, and millions of people had been drinking poison water for years. The World Health Organization described the situation as the largest mass poisoning in history. A step taken with the intention of doing good had unknowingly turned into a horrifying disaster. Arsenic poisoning progresses slowly: skin lesions, cancer, organ failure. The effects take years to appear. That is why the problem went undetected for so long. Today, Tens of millions of people are still drawing from water sources that carry arsenic risk, and this crisis never found the place it deserved on the world's agenda. Look at the label on the clothes you're wearing. It probably says, "Made in Bangladesh." Bangladesh is the second largest garment exporter in the world after China. The vast majority of the world's leading brands have their production done here. But the reality behind this industry is far more complex. The large majority of workers in these factories are women. They work 12 to 14 hours a day, and the wages they earn are unimaginably low compared to the lives of people in the countries where those clothes are sold. In 2013, a factory building called Rana Plaza collapsed. Management had seen cracks forming in the building the day before. Workers did not want to enter, but they were ordered to return. The next morning, the building came down. Over 1,000 workers lost their lives, and for the first time, people began questioning the true cost of the clothes they were buying. They began to wonder who was really paying for that low price tag. Every year, a large portion of Bangladesh goes underwater. The monsoon rains come, rivers overflow, plains turn into lakes. From the outside, this looks like a disaster. But for Bangladeshis, the flood is life itself. Children learn to swim before they learn to walk. Houses are built to accommodate flooding, raised up on high stilts. Boats are used for transportation. When the waters recede, the fields emerge covered in rich, fertile mud, and that year's harvest is abundant. The flood also means abundance, but climate change is disrupting this balance. Floods are now more intense, longer-lasting, and less predictable. Scientists say that a significant portion of Bangladesh's land could be permanently submerged by the end of the century, and that means tens of millions of people will be forced to migrate elsewhere. Bangladesh is among the countries that have contributed least to the climate crisis, but it is also among those that will pay the highest price. This is one of the greatest injustices in the world. Bangladesh rarely takes up much space on the world's agenda. It barely appears in news bulletins. Its name is not often heard at the tables of great powers. But that silence does not mean this country is unimportant. Quite the opposite. We are talking about a country that was submerged in floods but did not sink, that drank poisoned water but remained standing, that lived through genocide but rebuilt itself, that struggled with poverty but taught the world an economic revolution. Bangladesh is not a tragedy. Bangladesh is the most striking proof of just how resilient humanity can be.